Heads up, we got an airstrike on us.
Yeah, filet mignon. Filet mignon. I'll be doing as I'm told. Filet mignon.
Hey guys, it's Randomizer here, and today we're going to be talking about a defensive legend in Apex Legends called Gibraltar, and these are his abilities.
Gibraltar's passive is a shield arm. With this, when you zoom in with any weapon, a shield will appear in front of your character. Next is Gibraltar's Q ability. With this, you place down a dome shield on the ground. Everybody inside of the dome shield won't take damage from anybody shooting outside of it, and vice versa. It doesn't matter if you're ally or enemy, these rules still apply. Finally, we have Gibraltar's ultimate ability. With this, you place down a massive AoE airstrike. To use the ultimate, you throw a grenade down, and then the airstrike will fire down where the grenade lands.
When Gibraltar, aka Gibby for short, was first introduced into Apex, he wasn't anything special at all. However, throughout the later seasons of Apex, he would get a multitude of buffs to his kit over 2 seasons, and because of that, his pick rate would begin to increase. And he even proved to be unnerfable. Overall, this is the rise of Gibraltar. Before we get fully into this video, let's see a professional Apex Legends player called ImperialHal. Let's see his thoughts on Gibby nowadays.
But I think Gibby will still be played in comp. Like, his bubble and Gibby all is like just too good. His like individual ability now to like do damage is just worse, but his abilities are too good.
Also, subscribe to Randomizer. His content's amazing. Well, thank you, ImperialHal, for playing your part in this video to make it possible. Although, there is still one more thing that I do want to mention before we get fully into this video. And that is that I wanted to mention that I unfortunately got the virus. I'm not going to say its name but I think y'all pretty much know what I'm talking about. I did unfortunately catch the virus. Well, the virus that, I'm not naming it because I don't want YouTube to take down this video for any reason, and I'm not going to risk saying the actual name of the virus, but y'all probably know what it is. And I want to bring this up because if you notice that my voice sounds different than usual, then that's why. Anyways, hopefully you guys understand by now, and now let's just get fully into the video, like I promised. Shall we? My bad. Anyways, moving on. So Gibraltar's real name is Makoa Gibraltar, and obviously, of course, he's a male. He's 30 years old in Apex Legends, weighs 292 pounds, and he stands at 6 feet 5 inches tall. And in Apex Legends, he's from the homeworld of Solace. Solus, however you want to pronounce it. Anyways, that stuff is not, where he lives is not important for this documentary video. What is important though is, his actual functionalities, and he is a defensive legend in Apex Legends, basically meaning that he's not like Wraith, for example, who's an aggressive legend in Apex Legends. Basically, Gibraltar is not for rushing into a team. He's not for very aggressive play. If you like to play aggressive in Apex Legends, then basically Gibraltar is not really the type of legend for doing that. He's not, like, you can't, like, rush into a team with him aggressive. He is basically there to provide support for your team if something happens to you and your team in general. Like Lifeline or Loba, who are support characters in Apex. Alright, let's get fully back on track now. Okay? Okay, good. So I already know I had somebody explain at the beginning of this video what Gibraltar's abilities are, but you know what? I'll just summarize them. If you don't already know what Gibby, aka Gibraltar, well, I most people call Gibraltar Gibby for short, so I guess I'll just call Gibraltar that sometimes in this video. So Gibraltar's abilities are, to summarize, his his passive is his gun shield. That basically, as you're seeing on the screen right now, when you scope in with any weapon, aka ADS with the weapon, aiming down sights, a little shield pops up right in front of him that basically allows him to take extra damage when he's aiming down sights and shooting at an opponent. So that, like, when Gibby is shooting at an opponent, he could basically take extra bullets from a gun with this gun shield. Basically, it allows him to take extra damage. He gets, he gets. Actually, no, we'll go. We'll dive in deeper to how his abilities were back in Season 1. But anyways, moving on. We don't have enough time here. So his tactical, aka his Q for most people, that's what they call his tactical Q. I think it's for keyboard and mouse players. But anyways, his tactical ability is his bubble, which he throws down to help his teammates and basically to help him. Basically, his bubble is used for cover for himself and his teammates. And lastly, of course, we have his ultimate. And Gibraltar's ultimate ability, just to recap, basically, you throw down an airstrike that does 40... So you throw down an airstrike, and his missiles... And still to this day, his missiles do 40 damage each for each one that comes raining down. So y'all should pretty much know Gibby's abilities by now, and while I just explained them multiple times, just to make sure that you know what they are before we move forward. I understand that I explained them a lot, but and yes, what I'm trying to say is that his abilities, all of his abilities were different. But back when Apex first released, which was in February of 2019, his abilities were different back then than how they are nowadays. So basically, what I mean is that his passive was a lot different back in the earlier days of Apex. So is his his ultimate hasn't really changed much, but his passive and tactical were way different back then. So his passive was it was the gun shield, right? Well, it didn't really, it basically works the same nowadays, except that there was no damage bleed through. Like for example, his gun shield had 50 health back then, right? However, if you hit his gun shield with a 100 damage sniper bullet, then the gun shield would go away, but he wouldn't take any extra damage. For example, if you used an 100 damage if you used a sniper rifle that did 100 damage, and if you hit his shield with it, you wouldn't take it's hard to explain here, but basically, if you hit if you used a gun that did over 50 damage, and if you hit Gibby's gun shield with it, it would destroy the gun shield, but it also wouldn't do the extra damage to your body if you're using Gibraltar. So hopefully that makes sense. Additionally, his bubble didn't really do much back then, except provide protection from bullets for your team. It didn't have any perks to it. Like his bubble didn't have any healing perks, reviving perks. It was just a plain old bubble that lasted 15 seconds all it did was protect the team from gunfire, and that's about it. It didn't really provide anything else back in the early days of Apex. And also his Gibby overall in general, he was a really he had a really huge hitbox. His hitbox was massive, and overall that really wasn't a great thing, because when just walking along and just trying to, when trying to rush I guess trying to rush somebody, but they're shooting at you, Gibby just overall he would pretty much die in a second back in Season 1 of Apex. Well, mainly back in Season 0 of Apex Legends, but back in February to March of 2019, that was, of course, that was Season 0 of Apex Legends, and because of his large hitbox, he was overall very, very easy to kill back then. However, things began to change for Gibraltar in April of 2019, when he got two pretty decent buffs. First, the introduction of the fortified perk, the fortified passive perk, was introduced into the game in April of 2019, and this perk applied to Caustic and Gibraltar, which are two defensive legends in Apex Legends. This perk, at the time of its release, made it so that when you damaged a Gibraltar or Caustic, that they would basically take 10% less damage than other legends in Apex, meaning that gun bullets did less damage to Caustic and Gibraltar overall. And it made a lot more sense for Gibby and Caustic because of the size of their hitboxes. This change to Gibraltar made him more viable to play in Apex overall, and more people started to use him because his kit was more powerful now. In Season 2, though, things would just get better for him. That's because in that season of Apex, the ranked game mode for the Battle Royale mode was added in Season 2 of the game. And, well, because of the type of abilities that Gibraltar had, combined with the way that the ranked system worked back in Apex Season 2, combine that with Gibby's abilities getting stronger, and he worked. Gibraltar overall worked very well in the ranked game mode, and more people began to use him now. And then Gibby began to get more buffs throughout Seasons 2 and 3 of Apex. Of course, as I obviously just said there, his buffs began to increase, and this would make his pick rate go up. However, he was also too good now. He just got so many buffs that at this point, he was just too much of a must pick. And at the end of Season 3, he was pretty much buffed to the point of just being now too overpowered. Now, I remember when Caustic was buffed to the point of him being too overpowered. And pretty much everybody knows by now that he was nerfed to death in Season 8. And it ended up taking Caustic a couple of seasons to really get back in the legend meta. However, this wouldn't be the case for Gibraltar. Every season after Season 3 of Apex, Gibby would just continue to get nerfs upon nerfs, and overall just a lot of nerfs. However, he continued to be played by a lot of people despite this, and I'm about to explain now. Gibraltar's first nerf would happen on March 3rd of 2020, where his gun shield HP was reduced from 75 to 50. While this would just be one minor nerf for Gibby, it was foreshadowing on what was to come for him now. He would then get another nerf. His gun shield, as of this April patch, was now able to be destroyed by a Revenant silencer. So far, Gibraltar only got nerfed twice, but the nerfs just kept coming for him. In Season 5, they nerfed how long his shield bubble lasts before it disappears. They nerfed how long it lasts by 6 seconds, as you're seeing on the screen right now. Now that nerf, that could kind of make a big difference. However, another nerf came for him a month later, and that was that his healing speed inside of the bubble was reduced from 25% to 15%, which once again could have made a big difference for him. Overall, no matter what happened, it was just very clear that Gibraltar was just eating up these nerfs that he got without a problem. In Season 6 of Apex Legends, Gibraltar got another nerf, where his cooldown to his ultimate was increased by 1.5 minutes. At the same time, another legend, Bangalore, who has a very similar ultimate to Gibraltar, although quite not the same. You could look up YouTube videos on that. I'm not going to explain it right now. But anyways, so Gibby's ultimate was nerfed, but Bangalore's ultimate, which, as I just said, it's very similar to Gibraltar's, it was buffed. The cooldown was decreased by 1.5 minutes. So now Bangalore's ultimate took even less time to recharge than Gibraltar's. However, despite this pretty big nerf, it didn't make a difference for Gibby. People still continued to play him like nothing happened. At this point, even with all the nerfs that Gibraltar got, he was still being played a lot. He was being played by professional Apex players, casual Apex players, and streamers. And he was still viable in ranked games. However, Gibraltar still got one final nerf in the Apex Legends Chaos Theory event patch. Here it is on the screen right now. Now, this is Gibraltar's most recent change that he's had done to him. And to add that on to all the other nerfs that he's gotten in the past, and despite all of that, all of those changes done to him, this is what professional players have to say about Gibraltar today.
The second S tier legend is going to be another returnee, and this is Gibraltar. In the fun tier list I did at the end of last season, I did put Gibraltar on the bottom because he does require a bit more thoughtfulness to play him, and it isn't a style of play that is kind of fun for casuals. However, we are not ranking the legends off of fun, and the amount of usefulness that Gibraltar has cannot go unnoticed. Gibraltar is another legend whose passive, tactical, and ultimate abilities are all just too good. The passive more or less will give you a free 50 health boost in every fight. Think about that, always spawning in with 200 health due to that gun shield. This lets you last longer, peek without taking damage, and on top of this, the big guy gets a boost in life due to being a fortified legend. Gibby's tactical dome shield also is an incredibly useful tool that has a ton of uses, from reviving the team faster, creating mobile cover, separating enemies when trying to fight, and of course just the ability to get a second to reset the squad. And finally, the ultimate will allow you to shred through squads with damage, or at least have them get pushed around, allowing you to control the fight. Gibraltar is no joke, and while he isn't the most played in pubs or ranked, his usefulness is near endless, and it's a must-pick legend if you really want a challenge, and if you want a legend that can be one of the harder legends to get a hang of. Definitely do not sleep on Gibraltar. He is one of the best in the game.
See, I just proved it. People still like and use Gibraltar consistently, like that guy does, even after all the nerfs he got. And here's more proof. His pick rate still stayed on the incline, even after what happened to him. Yeah, pretty nice. Overall, that was the story of Gibraltar. He used to be not very good back in Season 0 of Apex. However, as the seasons passed, and as he got some buffs, his pick rate was able to climb to the top of the overall Apex Legend chart. But after a while, he was a little bit too overpowered, so Respawn then gave him some nerfs. However, this did not stop him from being a dominant force in Apex. Gibraltar nowadays is balanced and overall in a good spot right now in the Legend meta. His pick rate may not be very high when it comes to normal public matches, but in ranked games, especially Master and Predator games, pick rate wise, Gibraltar has been in the top 10 pick rate wise in ranked for many seasons now, and even to this day, he is still in the top 10 out of 19 legends when it comes to ranked play, high level ranked play, which is very impressive. You know, when you've been holding that top 10 title for so long, very good. Gibraltar surviving so many nerfs as well that could be applied to real life. That could be applied to real life as well. Let's say if you're getting beaten down a lot, if you're just getting beaten down a lot in general, you know, hey, don't take it, man. Just let it go. Every time you get beaten down, just be like Gibraltar. Just get back up. Get back up and keep fighting. Don't give up. You know, don't go down. You know, that's how Gibraltar was able to stay good and relevant all this time. He just kept fighting even after a heavy nerf. You know, he just, you know, he never let that stop him. And, you know, people still continued to like him even after that. Anyways, hopefully y'all enjoyed this video. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this documentary video. There's going to be more to come in the future, so keep a lookout by liking this video and subscribing to my channel for more. Anyways, see you in the next one. Goodbye.